put down your pitchforks and listen to the whole video. I promise you, we're not going to have any crazy, outlandish pitchforks and people coming at each other's throats. Chill. Because Tucker Carlson has gone on to say that the special operations or special forces have now become weaker because of some new diversity implementation. I'm going to tell you, yes, I understand ponytails and the flight suits, and you're asking, how does this diversity actually implement to our biggest adversary that's been out there? And I have to say, what's funny about this, as Tucker Carlson, that's part of this media sphere, even me on YouTube here, when you cover stuff that is important, like our adversaries peer-to-peer that could be coming out very soon, look at the media, look at the news, look how many clicks it gets. Pay attention. It's going to be almost nothing. But if you bring some quick clickbait stuff that can happen where it's like, can you believe they got ponytails now? So many people will click on that thing faster than you can believe because it's more relatable. People do not take this threat seriously. I'm a person that does, but that is something that just is not on the front page of what's really out there because we're so inward fighting that we're not even paying attention to what's around us. Now, our good old boy here, Tucker Carlson, is back at it talking about the military, where some of these are quite vague in generalizations that which have much more depth to them, which is why I'm making this video. So to start out this video, Tucker gets triggered by a tweet that was brought out by the U.S. Special Forces Command about one of their new hires that is now in charge of a diversity initiative, part of the Special Operations Command, and it says this. U.S. SOCOM welcomes our new Chief of Diversity and Inclusion, Mr. Richard Torres Estrada. We look forward to his contribution in enhancing the capabilities and effectiveness of SOF through diversity of talent, helping us recruit the best of the best. Hashtag quiet professionals. Tucker responds by saying this following that tweet.
So the tweet announced that a man called Richard Torres Estrada is now the, quote, Chief of Diversity and Inclusion of America's Special Forces, and they included his picture with the announcement. Then, at the very top of its website, the Special Operations Command included a link to its extensive, it's quite long, new Diversity and Inclusion Strategic Plan. Now, the one thing we know about that plan is that it will result in the dramatic lowering of standards within our elite ranks. It probably already has. So how will that make America safer? Well, the generals never said you couldn't find that on the website. Instead, they told us that, quote, all of us understand that diversity and inclusion are operational imperatives. They didn't say how, they just said they're imperatives.
First off, Tucker, you said that this was a long, in-depth thing. It's 18 pages. Not much text at all, to be honest. And I think the text has to be like 20-something font. It's really not that much to read, but I can tell this has not been read through by your writers or maybe by yourself because there's a lot of rebuttal here where if you just took the time to read it, your entire segment of this would not even been able to uphold any substance. So he talks about the reduction of the requirements to be in special forces and what that really means when we're talking about diversity, which I think he just assumes is women only. As a person that covers military news, I know for a fact if there was ever discussions of reducing a ranger requirement for selection, buds requirement to get in there, any of these special operations, specific niche communities, if there was a reduction in the requirement of a PST, for example, for the SEALs, I would cover that on this channel and I would say now is a better time to get in. You can get into the SEALs now easier than before. None of this up here says that, and we will talk about that. And you can be part of the Special Operations Command if this works by pressing the like button. This helps the algorithm pushes this video a little bit more, so I appreciate that. I want to read here exactly what it says verbatim from it, and I will link it down below where you can see exactly this 18-page document. Like I said, you should be able to read it in probably 10 to 15 minutes if you really wanted to get through this entire thing, but here's what it says. Diversity and inclusion are operational imperatives, and SOF leaders must consistently and unapologetically message this truth throughout the formation at all echelons. Leaders at all echelons must work to challenge narratives that equate diversity with lowered standards and replace those with a narrative that diversity equates to maximized capability. Increased diversity leads to more efficient, more effective problem solving. One of SOF's most critical competencies, increased inclusiveness, leads to a greater sense of belonging, which translates to a higher levels of engagement and stronger, more sustained performance. That diversity and inclusion are operational imperatives should be clear to all members of U.S. SOCOM. The pragmatic truth is that our SOF forces deployed globally to fight in complex, non-linear environments are not able to meet their full operational capability if everyone looks similar, thinks alike, and has comparable experiences. We must actively and aggressively seek out the diverse talent we need to meet the challenges of our global mission requirements and must foster inclusive teams and units that allow diversity to flourish vice conform. Wait, that China thing you're talking about, we're trying to combat that by adding more people to this problem that we could bring better minds to it if we could? Wow, that sounds like that's a mission essential thing, and that would be imperative. Did you guys read anything or see anything in this entire thing that says they were going to lower standards? If anything, they noted that people like Tucker would say that and said, no, we're not lowering the standards. Also, it looks like they're trying to get these special forces communities to work better as a team and to include better diverse ideas so they're not conforming. So if you look at that word conform, that would mean go to the expected way of which we would operate. If we can change that up and make our adversaries not aware of how we operate and maybe look at the situation differently, we might actually win wars. Wow. That just, it blows my mind. Let's also give another practical perspective. You know, we have 70-ish, around 60%-ish of Caucasians that are in the United States, with about 30 to 40% that are not, and various others. I'll show some charts here, but either way, it's in that ballpark that we're seeing. Now, what if we could tap into resources from some of these minorities that are not that? If you had a special operations member that was able to speak Arabic without having to send them somewhere to speak Arabic, or sending someone that already knew Chinese to go fight Chinese adversaries and not have to worry about paying to send them, and tapping into what we already have as far as resources, and these people that probably do have some patriotism to serve their country, but probably have never really thought about it. So here's my question to Tucker. Do you think that the other 30 to 40% of Americans that are not Caucasian cannot pass the physical fitness standards to enter into one of these communities? See, I can do that false, absolute, open-ended questioning thing like you do as well, but that's not true, and we both know that, so let's not come to that conclusion and say it might be better to increase the competition of having more pooled candidates going to BUDS, going to dive school, going to all these other places that are going to make us more effective. This is not only state, this is for the operators that are performing these more intense missions and things like that. This is Special Operations Command, which does include support roles. People that are in the military do not have combat roles. I don't know if that's going to blow your mind, but that's just the truth here. Not everybody is a pilot or an infantryman or doing something like that. So there is support that goes into the pay for these people, the food that feeds these people, the medical care that goes for them, the supplies to do their job. You know, those are just 4 basic essentials that we could see. And what they're saying is that this inclusiveness or diversity could be part of these groups as well, which is not saying that they're only looking to put this towards the operators. So Tucker Carlson then goes into the Suez Canal situation, which he somehow links to the military there as well. But let's play this clip right here.
Meanwhile, the rest of the world rolls on and gets more menacing by the day. Tonight, for example, the Suez Canal, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, is blocked by a stranded container ship. Was it an accident? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. What we do know is that the Suez Canal is vital to the world's economy. That's not an overstatement. The Suez Canal is one of only about a dozen strategic choke points that control virtually all global trade, and now it's closed. So this is a challenge to America's critical national interests. How is the Pentagon responding to that? Well, they're occupied with other things right now. For the last month, the entire U.S. military has been operating under a so-called stand-down order that was issued by the new Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin.
So where he does a falsehood here is he's like, well, the military cannot do anything to help out on the Suez Canal. They've been doing this 60-day stand down, which is just entirely false. They had 60 days to complete 1 day of training, meaning like they didn't just sit around and be like, hey guys, we're going to wait to the very end on the last day. We're going to do nothing until then. I've been working, by the way. I'm in the military, and I've been working. So I want to tell you, no one else has seriously just sat down and said, this is a stand down. We're just going to observe the extremism issue, and we're just going to look around and do nothing. That's actually false, because there's actually been admirals that have been going out to naval vessels that are doing operational things to speak to the crews aboard them. So I can only laugh at how bad this is. A simple little bit of research would have cured this. Also, there's more to the Suez Canal situation. There have been reports from different various news sources that have said clearly that the U.S. Navy has offered help to Egyptian authorities to help get this ship free, to allow the Suez Canal to be free for transit again. It wasn't a fact of that we were just sitting around at the stand down. It's just the fact that we want to, in your case, ignore a couple of the main key points. If you did a little bit of research, I would hope your writers would probably look at this and maybe pay a little bit more attention to some of the facts of the case. And this brings me to you guys. What do you guys think about the news and things that you hear? Because there is a lot of information out there that can be either disinformation or misinformation, which is very critical to understand, and how that can be fed to you through these different algorithms, which can be scary. Do you actually check some of those, like I have in this situation right here, to show you guys there is actually more to the story? I'd love to hear what you guys do in order to maybe ensure that you guys are fact checking yourself. But if you guys do like this, please make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff down there. And if you guys do like what we do over here, we do have a Patreon link down below where you can help support the channel over here. Also, we do have a YouTube membership link down below this video, also on the main channel, which you can get some special perks from both of these to help the channel grow as well. But as always, if you guys do have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.